How does it feel leading Manchester United into a cup final so early into your reign, and how big would winning it be in your side's progress?
It's great. As you have seen, we take every game serious, we take every league serious. So now we have progress in a final, and it's great to play a final. But if you play, you want to win.
Will Marcus Rashford be available for the final? There were some concerns that he may have picked up an injury last night.
I don't know. So players now coming in, we have to do investigations, medical of course, yesterday we did, but so straight after the game, most of the time you can't say we have to wait for 100% diagnosis, so let's do the medical, the work, we have to wait.
In terms of Newcastle, they've obviously progressed hugely this season in the same way that you have. How do you rate them and the work that Eddie Howe is doing?
Oh, I think it's a great team. Clear philosophy about they want to play the game. So it's the key word is intensity. So they do really well. It's an annoying team to play against. So we have to find a way to win them.
Annoying?
Annoying.
What, in what way?
Yeah, they try to annoy you. And so we have to make sure that we play our game and we focus on our game.
Samuel, you said about how Newcastle annoy you. Can you be more specific about that? Is it their time-wasting tactics, the way they try and kill the time?
Yeah, for instance, this is if you see, so FA, the refereeing wants to play the effective time, so they have the lowest in the league, and they are quite successful with it. So it's up to us that we get speed in the game, but also we are then dependent on the refereeing as well.
Do you think Pope's a particularly big loss because he has been criticised for the amount of time he wastes as well as a goalkeeper in that sense?
Yeah, I'm not in the instructions of the opponents, so I don't know. And it's also, I can't influence that. I can only influence. We have to make it our game. So focus on the job we have to do. Focus on playing football when the ball is in the game, and it's about that. So fully concentrated on that, and don't get distracted from what can be. Or whatever is on the pitch, we have to focus on the job and find our way and find the moments where we can strike.
Hi Eric, first of all congratulations on reaching the last 16 last night. You're now the only team that's competed in 4 competitions this season. Has the key to your success this season been your squad rotation, having your experienced players available for big weeks like this, being able to then help the younger players who are inexperienced in weeks like this? Has that been key to your success and why we're competing at the highest level in every competition?
I see it so far not as a success. It's more the road to hopefully success, because it's only success when you win trophies. But Sunday we have an opportunity to get the success, and it's obviously we have a squad what we use, and when you play in 4 leagues you need a squad. You can't do it with 11 already in the perspective of the load of the players, but also from tactical point of view. We can choose formations where we can think we are most effective.
Will there be any update on Anthony Martial before weekend? He's been training on his own, we noticed earlier in the week. Will he be assessed, or has he any chance of playing in the final?
No, he will not be available.
Dave. Hi Eric, and the team have made great progress this season under you already, but what message would it send out to win on Sunday, and how important is it for you to end that 6-year wait for a trophy at the earliest opportunity?
It's a great opportunity to get the silverware in, and it's all about that. I think it's about glory and honor in football, and we deserved to play the final, and now we have a great opportunity to win the cup. So we have to put everything in to get that cup to Manchester.
And that 6-year wait is a long time, isn't it, for Manchester United to be without a trophy?
Yeah, it's clear. You feel it. The fans are really waiting for it, and So we do everything we can to give the fans their honour.
Newcastle have got an issue with their goalkeeper. It's likely that a goalkeeper hasn't played much, he's going to have to play. When you've got a situation like that, does it change the way that you approach the game, where you tell your players to maybe test him in ways that perhaps you wouldn't do if it was a goalkeeper who's played the entire season?
It's an issue for them, what they have to sort, and of course we know it, and definitely not an advantage, but we don't influence, they can influence it, the one who is holding, he can influence it, and of course we have to test it, that's quite obvious.
Let's just go straight into this Newcastle game. How important is it to start winning trophies? Because it's been such a long time as a United fan waiting for these moments, and now you arrive and it seems like it's normal. But for us, this is a massive moment, Manchester United getting to another final. So how important is it to win the League Cup?
Olha, tô ansioso para esse jogo, para essa final. Espero chegar logo esse dia. Minha primeira final com a camisa do Manchester United, então para mim vai ser um dia muito marcante e espero que a gente consiga sair com o título, que vai ser sonho realizado para mim.
You know what the coach says. You're someone that obviously knew him from Ajax, and you knew him before you came to Man United. Have you had other players coming up to you, sort of asking him what he's all about, and trying to get the kind of inside knowledge on Ten Hag? Because it's obviously very different to what we've seen in terms of style of play in recent years. You knew about him already because you worked with him. Do you kind of have like the inside line on exactly who he is? And have you got everyone coming up to you asking about, who is Ten Hag and what does he expect from us?
Olha, eu conheço ele há 2 anos, vai fazer 3 anos agora. É treinador muito que quer sempre conquistar títulos, quer sempre brigar por grandes coisas. E ele sabe que eu tenho também essa vontade, esse desejo, tenho esse espírito. E em relação aos jogadores, me perguntaram um pouco, na verdade. A gente vai conhecendo a pessoa no dia a dia, então nem me perguntaram nada. Vai conhecendo o treinador no dia a dia, sabendo o jeito que ele é.
And finally, anytime we get a guest on the channel, it's not usually a Manchester United player, but we always ask for a score prediction. Maybe you can't give me a direct score, but how do you think this game's going to go against Newcastle? Do you see United winning this game?
Olha, vai ser um grande jogo, não vou dar resultado, porque é uma final. A gente sabe da nossa grandeza, mas também tem a qualidade do outro lado, tem a grandeza do Newcastle. Vai ser um grande jogo. Eu não vou dar resultado, vamos chegar no dia, vamos dar o nosso 100% e se Deus quiser a gente sai com a vitória.
Let's talk about what will be an incredible atmosphere at Wembley. Newcastle against Manchester United. Tens of thousands of Newcastle fans descending on the English capital ahead of this final, looking for their first domestic win since 1955. Don, with your Newcastle ways, you won't be able to sleep tonight.
No, we're going to win it, Dan.
Well, you're the only one who thinks so.
Well, it's better being on your own than with a group of fools, so I'm going out there.
Right.
There's a lot of bias, obviously. I mean, obviously, Nick Pope's going to be a massive loss. That sending off last week, I think, has dented all the Newcastle fans' hopes slightly, but there's still... I mean, my brother's been sending me like videos and pictures of Newcastle fans. They reckon there's going to be something like 40,000 inside Wembley. Something like 100,000 fans at Trafalgar Square. The scenes are amazing. They want to win the game. I think the biggest question mark is who's going to be in goal. And if Loris Karius is in goal, I'm just desperately hoping for the human side of it. I'm hoping it's a Cinderella story. It's a huge ask. He's not played a game for 2 years. I think he'll play because there's no real options. And I hope he does well.
Eddie, good to see you. Obviously, it's been a pretty crazy couple of days after what happened at the weekend. Now the dust settled, how are you feeling about everything regarding, first of all, the goalkeeper situation?
Yeah, feeling disappointed for Nick. That was my whole emotion really after the game and yesterday. Someone who's given his, as I said after the game, is all for the team. He's been outstanding this year, so I felt for him. But also pleased for another goalkeeper gets an opportunity, and I think we have to be very positive about our situation, about the game. Yes, it's a blow to lose Nick, but we still believe in the team and the group that we have.
I guess that's why you've got 4/5 goalkeepers and they have to be ready to come in. Have you had individual conversations with the 2 that remain?
Well, that's exactly why you have a squad of goalkeepers, and to have a goalkeeper of Loris's experience and Mark's experience, that they're both played a lot of football in their careers, so I've got no doubt about their match fitness, as I said, because of the way that they train. Yes, I've had conversations with both players, and they're in a good place.
Are you personally happy that the final is here now, because it's kind of been bubbling along in the background for a number of weeks now? Are you happy that you've got that now to focus on, and all minds are now on Sunday?
Yeah, I'm pleased the game's here. I think it's been a difficult few weeks for us because the talk has been about it, even though it's been 2-3 games down the line for us. And as much as we've tried to focus on what lay ahead, naturally I think the more probably the players I spoke to, it's not an issue for me, but the players I spoke to about lots of different situations, it can only be very much in your eye line. So we want the game, we're desperate to play in it, we're desperate to do well and do the club proud, and we're pleased it's here.
How are you feeling sort of now that the game's here? Do you sense the excitement that's around the town?
Difficult because I'm not sort of sampling that. I've sensed sort of the excitement around the game for the last 2-3 weeks. Well, I've tried to keep my emotions in check and focus on the fundamentals about how we're going to play, and that won't change for me. So I'm pleased the game, as I said earlier, is here, and I feel the players will be ready by kick-off.
Do you allow yourself that moment to sort of imagine what it will feel like to win at Wembley?
I haven't done yet. I'll let you know if I do before the game. At the moment it's an intense week when you're building up to any game, yet alone a cup final game, because there's a lot of these things that you have to do that takes your time and energy. So I'm excited by the training week. I love being on the training pitch with the players, and we'll try and get all our preparations right.
I would imagine when you came to Newcastle and had conversations with the owners when you first started, this was obviously part of the plan, you know, getting to cup finals, potentially winning trophies. Are you surprised by how quickly it's come around?
I think we hoped. You always hope before a season that you can have a successful season, and I think we wanted to take all the cup competitions seriously that we're involved in. Now we've had success in this one, we didn't in the FA Cup, but I believed that the squad was good enough to mount a challenge to potentially win a competition. We've got this far, we've got to the final, which is a great step really, and I think we'd love to go one step further and actually claim the silverware.
And just a word on Man United, what sort of threat will they pose? Because their form just seems to get better and better with each game.
Yeah, we're playing a team very much in form. They've got some very good players. I think the manager's done a brilliant job in building momentum and turning the team around from a difficult place. We know that we're going to have to be at our very best and embrace the occasion and hit our top levels to win.
Thanks. Andrew? Eddie, hi there. Optimism levels have fallen away a little in the last few days. What can you give us fans to assure us that we should stay optimistic?
Well, I always believe in being positive and optimistic. I don't, as much as I'm very, very driven every day, and you know, I always have to see warning signs and difficult moments ahead in my job, I still always have a very positive outlook, embracing all of that. So I believe we can win any game in the Premier League against any team, home or away, if we're absolutely at our best. And I think we've proved that this season when we have been. We've beaten some really good teams and we've been very consistent with our form. So I think we believe the power is in our hands, and it's up to us to perform at those best levels.
68 years since we won a domestic trophy. How conscious are you of that sort of history with such a big club? That is remarkable.
Yeah, I mean, I always believe that the history is, you know, from my side is respected, and I understand it. But for me, we're trying to create new history with a new team at a new moment. So we're determined to try and do that and create some great memories for our amazing supporters.
Too soon to talk about injuries. I mean, Willock questionable, and Joe Linton. What's the situation with those players?
Yeah, so we think Joe Linton was okay from the weekend. I say we think because, as you say, there's still a long time to go before the game. Joe Willock will be in a race to be fit, but we're hopeful. I think that's it, yeah.
Eddie, I know that you want to keep the focus on the pitch, but it's football mad city. Have you got a sense as to how much this means to Newcastle?
Yeah, from the people that I meet around the city and any interactions I have with supporters, whether that's 6 o'clock in the morning outside the training ground or when I'm leaving, the passion here and the support for their team is truly incredible. So I think the players know the responsibilities that they have to go into a game like this and just try and be the best that we can.
It's been a long time since Newcastle won a major trophy. Is that something that you've discussed with the players, that weight of history on this fixture?
I think in the early rounds we definitely used that. I think as it gets closer to the end of the competition, we've tried to go the other way and take the pressure off the players rather than add pressure onto them. I think it's a very delicate balance in terms of how you prepare psychologically for these games. As I say, when you get to this stage, I think the players know the responsibilities and the pressures that they'll face, so it's a case from my position of trying to take them away and just get them to focus on the match itself.
Yeah, there's lots of off the pitch noise around the ownership and that sort of thing. How much do you think that this game means to the people around the club as well, those people too?
Yeah, I think they're very driven to do the best they can for Newcastle, and from day one I think they've made some great decisions for the future of the club, whether that's developing in the training ground or investing in the squad. Their interactions with us as staff have been very, very good, so they would love to see some reward for that. Not that they're putting pressure on us in a negative way, but I know that they're determined to be successful, short and long term, and hopefully we can give them that.
And last thing, what would you say to thousands of Newcastle fans who travel down to Wembley to watch the game on the weekend? Message for them?
I think my message for them is a massive thank you for everything they've done for us to get us into this position. Thank you for their continued support. I'm sure they will back us in the game, all through the game, right to the end, as they have done in every game this season.
Yeah, I was just going to say, Eddie, will you allow the players to see the fans? Like, obviously we're going to be going down there in their vast numbers. You guys travelling down there on Saturday, will you allow them a little glimpse of any of that, or will you try and keep it separate?
That's a difficult question to answer because I don't know quite how that will work, but I would very much embrace that interaction between players and supporters. I know how I felt as a player. I love to see the connection. I love to see people at the games. Playing at Wembley myself many years ago was an amazing experience, and one that I've always remembered, even though it was in a different competition. It was one of the highlights of my career. So, and I loved driving into Wembley and seeing the support we had, and it will be the same for the players. They'll love to see that support. They'll love to see the numbers that have come even without a ticket, which is truly incredible. And I would very much try to create that if we could.
We actually really need to talk about, guys, is Manchester United, because obviously their form is ridiculous. They're into the round of 16 in the Europa League by beating Barcelona yesterday.
Can I say something, please? If Eric Ten Hag wins this league, because they could win it, that decision to get rid of Ronaldo might be the best in Premier League history. It might be the best managerial decision ever.
Yeah, it's all if buts and maybes.
I'm saying, I'm putting it out there.
For all of the stick that the Glazers have taken, and Manchester United fans will turn around and say a lot of it has been justified, if they're going to win the league, that will be, arguably, the greatest decision by a board to get him into being a manager.
Yeah, I mean, I still think it is it is a three-horse title race. However, I still believe City and Arsenal are just a little bit further ahead.
You say that, but they're only literally 5 points off the top.
I know. That's just my personal opinion, is that I think City and Arsenal will be the top two at the end of this season. But there is absolutely no doubting the job that Eric Ten Hag has done. And the big decisions, Jay. You mentioned the Ronaldo one. It wasn't even just the Ronaldo one. You've got the Sancho one as well. He's made a lot of big decisions so early on in his Manchester United career, but they were the right ones. And look at him now.
And I think they're buying into him, because even like when Rashford was late, he dropped him, and Rashford was hot on form. So I think they're buying into him being the figurehead there.
I'm going to go bold here.
Go on, talk to me.
This is how the league's going to end this season. Man City 1.
Yeah.
Manchester United 2. Arsenal 3.
To me, no,
And I'll tell you why. Let me explain why.
It's not that bad, because Arsenal could easily finish third.
And I'll tell you for why.
Crazy.
I think it's been a perfect storm for Arsenal so far this season. Other than that, that bad refereeing decision, which cost them big time, everything has gone perfectly for them. Decisions, marginal decisions, injury-wise, it's all been perfect for them. To have a whole season of things not working against you in the way that it has for Man City, definitely did for Manchester United, brand new manager, problems with your star player. All of that went on and they are still where they are. I don't think they will catch Manchester City, but I think Arsenal will have a confidence wobble and they don't have the space to have that right now.
It's a big shout. I mean, I think it'll still be City 1, Arsenal 2, Man United 3, but...
I like that, but guys, person I want to talk about at United is David De Gea, man. He's been a legend for a long time now, certified legend, and he's just still pulling off saves that are just ridiculous. Like, this one here is a joke.
It was a couple in this game, wasn't it? I think you've got this one from Harvey Barnes, which was a brilliant save. This is at 0-0, by the way. Both of these saves are at 0-0, but this one from Kelechi Iheanacho is just absolutely ridiculous.
It's crazy.
What a save.
What a legend.
I mean, this is how
absolute legend David De Gea is. You guys might know what I'm doing, but this is my new thing called take a bow. So I just want to say, David De Gea's right arm, right hand, take a bow, son.
What is going on?
I want to know what his right leg was doing.
What? I want to know.
That's stepping.
Yeah, I know you like that.
But in all seriousness, just quickly on David De Gea, he has won Player of the Season at Manchester United 4 out of 5 years he did.
Yeah.
And the only other player in Man United history to win Player of the Season 4 times, Cristiano Ronaldo. That is how important he has been to them.
That's why he deserves my...
Yeah, we get that. We get that.
Okay, let's focus now on the League Cup final, Andy. Manchester United against Newcastle United. First domestic final of the year in England. Eric Ten Hag's United, they're the favourites, you would say. But Eddie Howe's Newcastle been superb throughout the season, but they're just stuttering a little bit at a really pivotal time for them. What are your thoughts heading into this game? And this is always a great final, right? And this is 2 huge teams, 2 big fan bases. This will be a wonderful occasion at Wembley.
Yeah, it's a clear indication of the progress that Newcastle have made in a very, very short time since obviously the ownership change and moving on from Mike Ashley and some considerable investment, but I wouldn't say outrageous investment in the first team squad, at least not how a lot of people kind of expected as soon as the new owners came in. And I think all that credit goes to Eddie Howe because he was almost halfway out the door, I think, when the ownership came in, because a lot of people thought, well, no way is Eddie Howe good enough to manage a team that's going to have European aspirations. And if they slip up at all, the new owners are going to be very, very quick to move on. And he has just gone along, built a really, really solid squad that is they're tough to beat. And they've been beaten twice in the Premier League all season. They're tough to play against as well. Now, they don't create a ton of chances. They don't score a ton. And so they don't win a ton of games. They've drawn more than anybody in the Premier League as well. I think they'll give United a difficult challenge, but you look at the form that United are in at this point, moving on from Ronaldo, turns out a brilliant masterstroke of a decision by the club. Maybe they should have done it a lot sooner when he wanted to leave in the summer. Who's to say? But yeah, this is in form. United are the favorites, but I don't think Newcastle will roll over and give them an easy time.
Well, the main reason United are the favourites right now is because Marcus Rashford and Bruno Fernandes, they're on fire as a duo. They're finding each other. Fernandes usually assisting Rashford right now. He's in the form of his life. And, of course, Casemiro coming back as well. That's a huge bonus for Manchester United in midfield. They've really missed him in recent weeks. So what is your take on United in terms of, is that the key for them? Because defensively, been really solid under Ten Hag, workmanlike at times. But that combination there, Bruno looks like the Bruno ripped it up a few seasons ago under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. And Rashford, this is like unprecedented. He's already got his best tally in the season so far. And we're only in February. So that's the X factor for United right now, isn't it? And they just got to hope those two stay fit, because who knows what's possible in the final months of the season for the Red Devils.
What's really scary about United is how good Jadon Sancho looked in their most recent. Like that was, Rashford aside, United have had someone up top who's gotten goals over the years, even when they've struggled, whether it was Ronaldo or someone else. But to have Sancho kind of come back from the suspension that he had, get a goal, and have confidence. And the way that that goal was scored, it was just ping, 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 ball moving, one touch, balls in the back of the net. That to me was a very, very clear indicator of how well this team is taking to Ten Hag's system now. And they are, with Sancho in the team, incredibly dangerous on the counterattack. And that's not to say that they're not with Antony on that wing, but Bruno kind of pulling the strings, dropping those balls in behind, and Rashford can't miss the back of the net at this point. It feels like all that, it feels like a collection of talent has come together and become a team at Manchester United. And it's incredible to say that almost a decade after Sir Alex Ferguson left, but that's what is happening now. And it does, you know, we had a conversation a couple of weeks ago, or a week ago, maybe, after Man City, Arsenal are united in the title race. I still think it's a bit of too much of a gap, but I think the quality that they're showing on a game-to-game basis, every single time out, the quality of the performances, they are closer than I thought they were at the time. And so, yeah, they're favorites, and they're favorites for a reason. They've got all the currently they have the squad that costs all the money. Newcastle will catch them eventually, but yeah, the form right now I think is going to be most important in this one.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's important for Newcastle. They have Bruno Guimaraes back after his suspension, but no Nick Pope. Got a red card against Liverpool last time out in the Premier League, and then Martin Dubravka, their backup goalkeeper, was on loan at Man United and played in this competition earlier, so he's cup tied. So it looks like Loris Karius is going to come out of the darkness and out of nowhere to start in a major cup final for Newcastle. And yeah, what do you think about that? Because that seems like it could go two ways, right? It could be an absolute nightmare for him, or he could have the game of his life, save a penalty, be a hero in penalty kick shootout, and that could be the storyline. And you know, over the years, there are these folk heroes that kind of get thrust in unexpectedly to these situations and deliver. So in many ways, he's got nothing to lose, because most people will expect him, oh, he's not going to be up to the level of Nick Pope. And how's he going to be? He's going to be so rusty, right? How's he going to read the situations? And he doesn't play with his defense week in, week out. But it's just one game. So who knows, right? Is it that big of a deal?
Yeah. Does he have any history in big games, maybe finals during his career? A chance to not right the wrongs of his Liverpool career, maybe not quite be a Liverpool hero, but, you know, you prevent Manchester United from winning a trophy. I think a lot of people might, you know, have a little bit more forgiveness and look a little more kindly upon him. It's a very, very interesting situation. It is another challenge, though, that Newcastle will have to overcome in this game. I think they'll probably look to sit back really deep defensively and try to soak up as much pressure as they can, try to make life as easy on him and that back line as possible, just given the way that United are ripping teams apart on the counterattack. And Newcastle will look to get at United that way with St. Maximin and Almiron and Callum Wilson if he's able to get back in time for this one. So they will have a chance. They'll have a puncher's chance, but it's going to take kind of almost a perfect sequence of events, I think, for Newcastle to find themselves in a situation where, you know, they're ahead or potentially winning this final.
Absolutely. So in terms of key battles, I'm thinking Casemiro against Bruno Guimaraes, the two Brazilian midfield maestros, obviously slightly different players, but that is a brilliant battle in midfield. I think will decide the tempo, the control. And then, of course, you look at Bruno Fernandes kind of playing on the right side. Obviously, Dan Burn just being there as well. Like, can he get in behind him? And Rashford peels off to that side as well. That might be a bit of a mismatch, as well as Dan Burn has played sort of out of position there, right? He's usually a centre-back, but slotting in there. So I'm looking forward to that battle. And then maybe Jadon Sancho, whichever wing he plays on, Trippier is a key figure, obviously, for Newcastle. Those wide areas, I think, if Newcastle can plug those gaps, defend resolutely as they have for most of the season, right? That's been the key to their success under Eddie Howe. So many clean sheets and narrow wins, then they've got a chance. But prediction-wise, I'm going to go with Man United. I think it might be tighter than we think, but I'm going to go for a 2-1 win for Manchester United. I think they're really in a great moment now in all competitions. And I think they've arrived at the right time, right? With the right players fit and back. In comparison to Newcastle, I think they've just hit a bit of a dip at the wrong time. Is that fair enough to say? And prediction-wise, what are you going for, Man United or Newcastle?
Yeah, that's totally fair. I'll say 2-0 to United, and it's probably 1-0 for quite a long period of the game, and Newcastle hang in there and maybe threaten just a little bit. But I just United defend well now as well, and if Rashford is in the form that he is going forward, and United are not making calamitous mistakes defensively the way that they have in recent seasons, and even parts of this season, then it's a really uphill battle.
It will be, and we will keep you updated on that battle at Wembley between Manchester United and Newcastle. Head over to Pro Soccer Talk on NBCSports.com. You can see it at the bottom of the screen there. We'll have the how to watch information, live analysis and reaction and video from the first domestic final of the season in England. Will Manchester United or Newcastle United be victorious at Wembley and be holding that trophy aloft? Whoever does, it'll be a big moment for Newcastle. It's been a very long time for them without a trophy. But for Manchester United, you feel like this is a big moment for Erik ten Hag to really make his statement, make his name, get one trophy in the books, and he'll be hoping it's the first of many more to come. Looking forward to this final, Andy. What a game it should be at Wembley. And remember, PST will have you covered with everything you need as Man United and Newcastle United go toe-to-toe.